in your opinion, what do you think the wing's biggest accomplishments have been since you've been in command here?
Well, I think the team has done a tremendous job over the last 2 years. There's been a lot of huge things done in a short 2 years. And just a few things, we now have Wi-Fi in our training areas, not only in our classrooms, but in our student dormitories, just like every other college and high school in America. And I think that is a tremendous accomplishment and adds a foundation to our ability to transform training here at Team Sheppard and at our geographically separated locations too. Students out of training, we had a high number of students that were lingering here after graduation, waiting to go to their first assignment because we had some inefficient processes that we had become complacent with just doing business the way it was. And so after a lot of effort with the training groups, our mission support group, med group, and wing staff agency, everyone really came together and reduced that number significantly. So it was a little over 500 while we were, when we just got on the ground here back in the middle of 2021. And now today it's hovering around 60. And 60 is about the cost of doing business when you deal with a student population a little over 4,000 every day. And so now we see students leaving here within 24 to 72 hours of the time that they graduate, which is exactly what we should be doing to them, to respect their time and the investment that our instructors made in them over the several weeks and months they were here to get them ready to be technical experts and send them to their first duty station.
So when you arrived, what surprised you the most about the 82nd Training Wing in Sheppard generally?
Well, even after being a student here a couple times, I think what really surprised me was the scope of responsibility that this wing has with respect to training. So 48% of the airmen that graduate basic military training every single year come through Sheppard for training, and not just in aircraft maintenance. So I was an aircraft maintenance officer, and I thought all we did here was aircraft maintenance. But we do civil engineering, telecommunications, logistics readiness, nuclear operations out at our squadron out in Vandenberg. And so we touch a vast majority of the specialties that keep our Air Force combat capable every single day. And when you think about the active duty population in the Air Force today, which is about 319,000, and with 48% that graduate from Sheppard, a little over 153,000 people that are on active duty right now have graduated from a schoolhouse that we have here at Team Sheppard. So huge impact that I did not appreciate until I got here and really started to dig in to see all the things that our instructors, MTLs, and the support agencies around the base support every single day.
So you've been here 2 years. Talk about some of the people that you've met that really kind of touched you and affected you.
Well, I think this happens every single day. Last night in particular, I had the opportunity to do some mentoring over at the landing zone, run by our chapel team. It's called on every Tuesday, once a month they do Let's Talk About It. So they have a taco bar there, a bunch of airmen show up, and you just get to hear their story and answer whatever questions they have. And it's just amazing to hear the stories that our airmen have and where they come from as they've entered our United States Air Force. I met a young man who's in the reserves that has his bachelor's and master's in engineering, works at Arnold Laboratories, and he tests hypersonic weapons in his day-to-day job, and then now he's going to go through avionics training here as an airman. I mean, that just blows my mind. So when you hear stories like that, you just feel really confident about the folks that we attract in our United States Air Force every single day, and just the power and professionalism that every airman brings to the mission. But also, when you take a look at our team here, permanent party team, that does not only the instruction, but the military training leader development, and then all the support that we do, because I think sometimes we underestimate the support that it takes to run an operation that trains 48% of the Air Force. And we have some folks that have been born and raised here in Wichita Falls. So Cheryl Felix, she works in our 365 training squadron. Her family works on the base, she works on the base. This has been really her only job professionally, and she's not prior military, but she learned the craft of teaching within the avionics specialty and then moved up through the ranks, and now she creates a lot of the environment that we have had to be able to transform training in that particular squadron where they've done amazing things. So it's really inspiring to meet the folks that, whether born and raised here in the local area or the folks that we PCS in for an assignment, and some have come back. So one of our brand new squadron commanders in 363, Major Hewell, he just took command last week. He was an AFLOS instructor when he was a younger officer, and now has come back as a training squadron commander. So we're really excited to bring that experience back here as we continue to transform training. So, I mean, I could go on and on with the stories of the people that I've met since I've been here, and everyone has a really unique backstory that lends itself to really the power that we have in our Air Force to attract the nation's best and brightest, not only for those that we train, but those that train those and support the mission here.
What are some of the initiatives that you've seen started here over the last few years that you hope to see continue to develop and grow as we go forward?
So I think one thing I'm really proud that the team has done is we've really have gotten the engine started on truly modernizing and transforming training. So now it's more than just words. We've put resources behind it. And just like we did with Wi-Fi, by setting the foundation so that we can build upon technology, now every single day more students get devices versus 3-ring binders when they walk into their classrooms. Just like they do when they're at BMT, they get a CAC-enabled iPad. And so when they come here, now they get a device that they can have their content on. So not only can they use that in their classroom, but now they can use that in their dormitory because they have Wi-Fi accessibility while they're there. And so I'm really excited at what we've done in a lot of our pathways to advance training and then really take it to the next level. Our crew chief training is one of the standard bearers for where we're going with that. So right now, that schoolhouse is about 800 students at any given time, and they all get a device and they all get an AR/VR headset. And now we have the opportunity to do blended learning where it's just not the sage on the stage transmitting content, 6 hours a day in the classroom. Now they get to do some lecture, but also some self-paced learning, and then they can take content back with them to their dorm room and collaborate with their fellow students. So it's a really unique training model that we've created here, which is no different than what they would experience out in the private sector if they had chosen to take a job there. And so now the commercial that they see that attracted them to the United States Air Force is met with the capability and the advances that we've taken in transforming tech training. And now that has helped us really generate change across a multitude of pathways. And I'm really excited over the next few years what General Dietrich and Chief Schultz, our next command team coming in, will get to do now that we've had the opportunity to lay the groundwork and get some funding in the out years so that they can really take tech training to the next level.
So one of the things that I've really, that's excited me in watching happen over the last 2 years was investing in developing our faculty. So could you talk a little bit about that and why you think that's important?
Right, so we were here a little over a year and realized, we're keeping pace. We're graduating students on time every single day, but we really weren't doing anything for the faculty per se, not to the level that we should. And when you take a look at the private sector, whether in the K through 12, tech college, or 4-year institutions, they invest in their faculty. And so we decided every quarter now to take a faculty down day, a Sheppard Training Transformation Consortium, where not only our faculty, our instructors are being developed, our MTLs are being developed, and on that particular day when we're not teaching, our AITs are now getting developmental courses in life skill type areas to help them grow and become better airmen. So it's a really multi-pronged opportunity, 1 day a quarter, that we deliberately develop holistically everyone within the training enterprise. And I think that is probably a well-needed investment. And a lot of people, were a little hesitant at first because, well, we're not going to graduate students on time if we take a 1 day off a quarter. But even if we ended up graduating any class late, the investment to do this is well worth it. Because with the changes that we're asking our instructors to make within their classrooms by introducing technology and new learning modalities, student-centered, competency-based learning, we have to give them the time to learn that, and it can't be on the fly in between classes. It has to be deliberately baked into the schedule like any institute out there in the private sector does when they show the investment and the importance of developing those that train our airmen in the Air Force, or those that train those in the private sector. And so I think it's one of the best investments that we've made since we've been here. Really excited to see where the team takes it. We've done 3 already in our time here, and excited to see where the next command team will take it. I think there's a lot of growth opportunity here, and I think we're just really at the precipice of what could be when we speak to faculty development.
So let's imagine 10 years from now, you come back to visit Sheppard. What do you expect and hope to see here at that point?
Well, one of the things I hope we get to share is your team created a really innovative vision of what the future looks like at Sheppard in 2037. And I think a lot of that has to do with technology and how we engage our airmen. And so I'm really looking forward to see how that vision has become true in the next decade. Not only with the financial investment that we're going to make to bring technology where it needs to bear in training so that we continue to create and train the world's best airmen, but also just see just how the environment has changed within a place that really should set the pace for what training is. You know, for the history of DoD, we have really set the pace for where technology goes. You know, the DoD invented the internet. The DoD has invented a lot of the technologies that the private sector has then capitalized on as we've seen new technology introduced in our own lives. And I think we could do that also in training. And I think this could be the incubator for it, with as many pathways as we teach, as big of a student load that we have here every single day. We have a tremendous opportunity to collect a lot of data and to try a lot of things. This is a great place to take risk and to try new ways to train our airmen. Now, because even if we don't get it right, maybe a class graduates a few days late because we didn't quite get it right and we have to re-vector and do something. But the cost of the investment of trying something new and then building upon that for the next class is well worth an airman possibly graduating a few days late and getting to their next duty station, because I think overall the impact to the Air Force will be tremendous. So I'm excited to come back here, wander around in 10 years, and just see the things that we have done that maybe we kicked off here over the last 2 years.
So any regrets, things that you hoped to get to and just didn't have time in your 2 years?
Well, I think time is just the most trying thing that you have in a 2-year command tour. You know, I've said this more than one time and publicly, that I don't think 2 years is long enough in a job like this that has the scope and responsibility it does, especially when you're in the time and phase of modernizing and transforming an environment. You need time to really get on the ground, understand what's going on, think about the things that you want to do, prioritize funding, get the funding, and execute. And to do all of that in 2 years, I think is very challenging at best. Now, we've got a lot done here in the last 2 years, and I'm tremendously proud of the team on what they've done. But I really think if we're going to do this the right way, we need to ensure key leaders are in these jobs a little bit longer. If you think about the private sector, if you're running a tech college, you're not in that job for 2 years. If you are, it's probably because they fired you and they wanted to bring someone new in to change the direction of where that institution was going. And I think we could do a little bit better by keeping key positions in longer to allow more things to develop and happen. Now, I do think that change is important. Fresh eyes are great. And General Dietrich and Chief Schultz will come in with fresh eyes and have the opportunity to take the place to the next level. But I also think there's a balance where you need to stay in a job long enough to live with the decisions you make, but also not stay too long that you're unwilling to change the decision that you made. And that probably lends itself to longer than 2 years. So yeah, a regret that I have that's really outside of my control is I wish I could have stayed just a little bit longer, selfishly, only because I certainly enjoy the job tremendously, but also I think if the team had a chance to stay a little bit longer, we could have developed some things and just left it better baked for the next team to take it. Now, I'm excited about the next team, and I hope they get the opportunity to stay long themselves so they can do and develop more things. But I think that's my biggest regret is time is our biggest enemy. in these jobs, and sometimes 2 years, albeit a programmed natural turnover of command. Maybe it should be looked at a little bit differently depending on the type of job you're doing and the impact that you have to our Air Force.
Any kind of final farewell message to the team here at Sheppard?
Well, I mean, I've had an incredibly blessed time here. It has been the most personally and professionally satisfying job of my 28 years in the United States Air Force. I was downtown yesterday at the military roundtable talking to our community leaders, and I said the exact same thing. This has been an absolute home run assignment for me, and that's why, I advocated and really asked to stay longer, because I just felt there was more to do, and I was truly enjoying the job, not just based on the job itself, but the experiences that I had with the people that I had the privilege to work with every single day. So I'm really proud of what we've been able to accomplish in the last 2 years. I'm proud that we trained the world's best airmen by defending America's future one graduate at a time. I hope that sticks. And just like many years ago, commanders before me came up with the mantra of combat capability starts here. I think that speaks volumes about what we do and the impact that we have here at Team Sheppard, and the privilege that we have every single day to train America's sons and daughters to be the best airmen that they can be, so that we send them to their first assignment. They're excited, they're motivated, they're developed, and they're ready to face any challenge that our nation has going into the future. So yeah, this has been awesome. I'm just sad to leave, but that's okay. I'm excited for the opportunity that General Dietrich and Chief Schultz will get, and I'm excited to see really what the future holds for Team Sheppard.